really change behaviors, in particular behaviors that somebody's been engaging in for a long time, that you want to modify. It's within a social network, within a social structure. We live, in households with other people. We work with other people. We have groups of friends. So it's important to make sure that your support network understands what you're going through and what you're trying to achieve, and that you set things up so that you're supported. An example, so my co-author of Anti-Cancer Living, also my wife, Allison Jeffries, uses the example of that if you don't get a good night's sleep, and then when you head into work, you see in the break room, there's the donuts, and you're feeling a bit vulnerable, so you eat that donut, and then somebody at the end of the day says, let's go out for drinks after work, and you have excessive margaritas, and there's sort of that spiral. And so unintentionally, that environment that you're living in can make it harder for you to achieve your goals. So it's important to start with social support, and look for the kinds of support that are going to allow you to be successful. Often doing this with a friend, that it doesn't necessarily need to be a family member that joins you on the changes into more healthy living. It's important, in particular, if patients are in a family unit, that the family understands and tries to help support the changes. It's not often easy to cook multiple meals if that one family member is really wanting to have that processed food and the red meat and the refined carbs that we don't advise cancer patients to eat. But there are ways around this, and of course, everyone wants to support the cancer patient ultimately, and they need to know how. And so it's equally important to say to your support network the kinds of things that are going to be helpful to support you during this time. The other aspect of support is that we know actually giving and receiving support has a profound effect on our biology. And there's clear evidence that individuals who volunteer their time and engage in what's called eudaimonic behaviors, behaviors that are beyond the self, engaging in activities that bring you meaning and purpose, that those individuals have gene expression profiles that exhibit decrease in inflammation, increased immune function, two of the very important cancer hallmarks that help to keep us cancer-free and in general healthy. And now volunteering and giving of yourself and for those who don't necessarily always have meaning and purpose within their work life, that's something that can be done online. That's something that can be done within the community. And again, being open to receiving support. We hear this so much, in particular, of women who are, stereotypically more the caregivers in our society and giving of themselves, that it's hard for them to switch that and to allow support to be given to them. And people need to understand that by allowing others to support you as the cancer patient, you're doing them a favor, because they're getting something beneficial out of helping you. So giving, receiving, this is how we as a species actually have survived for so long, because of the beneficial effects of giving and receiving support.
What are the key studies that show that increased social support or better social support leads to better outcomes in cancer patients?
Well, most of the studies in this area of support have been, let's call them, technically epidemiological studies, so large cohorts of patients that are tracked over time. And in fact, a lot of the interventions, a lot of the data in this area is epidemiological in nature. So, we have to be somewhat cautious that association does not mean causation. But this has been studied so much, and it's been studied in so many different contexts, including well-controlled animal studies. So mice that are socially isolated, they die at a younger age, their cancer grows faster, and you can really control the social environment of animals, which of course is not ethical in humans. But we see in these large cohorts from tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of cancer patients in some of these studies, that those that have more social support, whether that's number, but even more importantly, the quality of the support, and in particular, having emotional support, somebody who they can share thoughts and feelings with, they tend to live longer and have a lower probability of recurrence of disease. And some studies have, again, mapped that into biology, either, immune function, stress hormones, and very importantly, gene expression profiles supporting a more anti-cancer biological environment.
Now coming
and then just to close that, there is dating back to the 80s, research showing that support groups were very helpful. And this original work was first started by Dr. Yalom in California, showing that stage 4 breast cancer patients who participated in weekly emotionally expressive support groups lived longer. David Spiegel then followed up on some of that work, replicated it over time, and now it's the standard of care to have support groups for cancer patients. The treatments have gotten so much better for cancer patients that, in some sense, the effect of providing and maintaining support is diminished in and of itself, again, because the treatments have gotten so good, but it still has an effect, even if it's a small effect. And cancer patients should want to do everything they can to be able to, improve their chances for favorable outcomes.